Don't wait till the battle's over. Don't wait till the struggle ends. Shout out right now. Shout out. Don't wait till you make it.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Phillip Show. I'm so glad you're here. Grab your coffee if you haven't already. You know, as the weather continues to break and people get on with whatever they're going to do in the fall, there's so many things that transition and so many things that are just a little bit different than they are in another season. And I was thinking about, what about the seasons of our lives? What makes this a successful season versus the last successful season? And how do we take what we learned and move it forward? And what is the key to our success? So today, I'm super excited to have David Scott II on. He is a real estate pro, and also he has an incredible journey. And one of the things that I'm already going to be taking away is, how do you become successful? How do you move forward? Even if there may be some things that you have to overcome or continue to overcome. I say you're in the process of the ing, you're overcoming, you're being, all that kind of good stuff. So without further ado, David!
What's happening?
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well, my friend. It's good to see you, and I'm excited to be here with you. I've seen a lot of your shows, and you've had a lot of really cool people on here.
Thank you.
Well,
I
excited
appreciate you being
chose for me to be one of them.
Yeah, you're a part of the Cool Kids Club now.
That's what I'm talking about.
I see your shirt, Glen Helen. That kind of jumps right in. We're from a small place. Tell the people who may be watching, what's Glen Helen?
Glen Helen is a private nature preserve here in our small town of Yellow Springs, Ohio, where a lot of us spent a good amount of our youth in, and I continue to hike in as much as possible these days.
Yeah. So you go hiking. You go hiking in the Glen often?
I try to. It depends how life is going, but I try and get in there as much as possible, for sure.
Yeah, I'm so not an outdoors person. I see it from the side and I'm like, hey, there's the Glen, and I just keep driving. I'm like, yeah. But growing up, it's so interesting because growing up in a small town, there seems like everybody has all of these options and all of these things to do, and everybody wants to leave and get out of here, and some people come back and do all these things. Tell me, for you, growing up in a small town like Yellow Springs is, for the people who don't know, it's very small. It's considered an exempted village. How has small town life been for you, and why are you still here?
I really loved growing up here in Yellow Springs. The small town vibe, being able to run free like we were when we were kids. And then the enormous amount of friends and acquaintances you keep for a lifetime. And not only that, the wide range of ages. My sister's 6 years older than me. So I was at all those sporting events back in the day. And, it seems like, it is a village, and it seems like, almost, it's like surprising when you meet someone and you're like, you're from here and I don't know you. Like, I love that feeling of community and just taking, so many friends for so long, and having that, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's so funny. So for the people who are watching and who are listening, I really have the pleasure of speaking to some people that I really haven't spoken to this capacity in a very long time. So I knew David years ago, and clearly we both were younger. So when we come back and now we're both adults, it's so interesting how life has kind of happened, what the journeys have been, what's been going on. You now are a dad and you have kids. How many children do you have?
I have 3 sons. David is 12, and my middle son Mason is 10, and my youngest son Aiden is 6.
Wow. How busy does that keep you?
Well, all three of them are occupying the three different schools here in Yellow Springs.
Oh,
My oldest just started at uh, middle school, and then my middle child is at Mills Lawn, and then my youngest goes to Antioch School.
mm.
So just the mornings and whatnot can keep you busy, but when they have their activities and just chasing around three young sons, yeah, it can keep you busy for sure.
Yeah, listen, it sounds like it. I need a whole nap after you said all that, like a whole complete nap. But with you being busy, you have, active children. You're active with them in all three schools, and you also are a real estate pro, and you're coming through, or you're dealing with, or you're walking along the journey of having some pretty scary health challenges. What
Absolutely.
what happened, and if you don't mind me asking, what are they?
Well, first, when I was working at Central State University, um, that's when I really started going to the doctor and started getting screenings and whatnot.
Why did you
And
go? Why did you go? Why did you go there?
I actually graduated from Central State.
No, to
And,
the doctor.
oh, Central State actually had more guidelines as to, flu vaccines and things since, you're around student body.
Hmm.
So it was kind of not necessarily my decision at that point. Like there was just some things that they, required me to go see a doctor. And then when I did, I found out that I was type 2 diabetic. So that was the first issue in my health history. And then I've never really liked medications. And the first one that they put me on, they put everyone on the same thing the first time. It's called metformin,
Mm.
typically, and it really messed with my stomach. Um, and I knew right then that, I needed to do something to make it to where I didn't have to, take this. They switched me to a different medication, but, you know, I'm not the type that really likes taking medication unless I really have to. So,
Right.
um, kind of led to a lifestyle change. I did a lot of research on, how I might be able to beat diabetes and change my lifestyle. And now I wouldn't say I don't have diabetes because it is a lifelong diagnosis. Um, but my last hemoglobin A1C was below pre-diabetic, so
Oh
technically,
wow.
as the numbers go, I don't have diabetes anymore, and it's diet controlled.
Awesome. So when you say you started to do things, you said it's diet control. What else did you do to help kind of get back? I don't want to say back on track, but change the trajectory, I guess, if you will, of your health. What else did you incorporate?
Well, it's been a long journey. That diagnosis was, ooh, 12, 15 years
Mm,
ago. Something. It
mm,
was back when like the Atkins diet was first coming out,
gotcha.
whenever that was. So
Yeah.
um, that was the first thing that I tried, because that was all the hype back then. So I tried the Atkins diet, and it's been up and down too. At first, I wasn't really consistent with it.
Yeah.
It took a while before um, I've gotten to the point now where I, don't have diabetes anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but more recently, I have switched over to the keto diet,
Oh, okay.
and so I've been pretty consistent on that
Yeah.
for quite some time now. I
Yeah.
actually got too skinny there for a while. I've never been
Really.
accused of being a little guy, but I got to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm a little skinnier than I want to be.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well,
yeah,
some people would say that's a good thing, but not so much. Not
I
the
like being a big guy, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, you changed your I guess your lifestyle, your healthy habits, and I'm so excited that you kind of overcame that because that's a huge hurdle that a lot of people are still struggling with, in just trying to kind of even that out in their life. But then you were diagnosed with epilepsy as well.
Yeah,
What happened there? It seems like if you were going and tell me what happened because it seems like it's like a huge blow because it's like, okay, I'm gonna like fix this about my life and I'm gonna get really healthy. And then, oh, and by the way, here's this. What happened when you discovered that this was something that you would also have to deal with?
um, well, that was a tough blow, and I got really lucky.
Mm,
Um, because the first seizure that I had, um, I was living in Beaver Creek at the time, and had just my third son had just been born shortly before that, and I was working in Beaver Creek, but my childcare, my parents, my mom, were down here in Yellow Springs, so I was actually bringing my children here to Grandma's house, and um, I walked in the house. I got my youngest son, in his car seat, and the two older boys run back to Grandma's room, and I remember I sat down the car seat, and I just started sweating, like all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, and I went like that and looked at my hand, and it was just dripping sweat, and
wow.
then I woke up on a gurney.
Mm,
But if that would have happened 5 minutes before that, I would have been on Dayton Yellow Springs Road doing 55 miles an hour, and
wow.
maybe my family or someone else's family, or
Yeah.
it could have been a way different outcome. So, um, even though it was a very bad, um, thing to deal with, I still, felt very blessed that it it did come about um, when it did.
Yeah.
Um, and late onset epilepsy isn't a very common thing. Usually you're diagnosed much earlier in life. So I was, in my mid to late 30s at that point. Um, and, there was a lot going on in my life right then, so I
Mm.
think, I'd been in a couple of car accidents, not my fault. Um, and then
Yeah.
I've also been in a couple of motorcycle accidents, and so I've had a couple of things that involved a little bit of head trauma, and then epilepsy also not necessarily runs in my family, but there are a couple of other people in my family that do have epilepsy.
Mm.
Um, so it was definitely a shock.
Yeah, I would imagine. I'd imagine it's like a scary shock. You haven't had a seizure in like 4 years, is that right?
December, I want to say 19th, 18th, 19th, somewhere around there will be 4 years seizure free.
Awesome, congratulations. What do you do? Is there anything that you have to maintain right now?
$24,000 a year in medications.
Oh, well, that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I'm on two medications, and they're both $1,000 a month.
My God. Hmm.
Yeah,
But sidebar, they're working. I would take it.
uh, yeah. Um, I've also read, doing research on epilepsy and whatnot, that the keto diet is actually good for epilepsy and epileptics and reducing seizures as well. So I didn't start doing it for that reason, but it seems like, since I've been more consistent in that, it just happened to, be working for two separate reasons,
Wow.
for
So
both
you're
diagnoses.
so you have all of these things going on. You have your family there, and clearly you're doing a lot of health. You enjoy working out. I mean, the camera says that, and But you also are in real estate.
Mhm.
Where did that come from? I'm just curious because now I'm all in your business. Where did real estate come from?
That actually came from epilepsy.
Really?
Yeah, my second seizure, I was the diamond manager at Jared the Gallery of Jewelry. Um, and my second seizure came while I was at work with a client. And so I was standing there at the showcase, and that same thing happened where I started sweating. And then before I could, call my coworker for help, I wake up on a gurney again. And that time I busted my head open on the corner of the showcase. Um, and so at that point, like when I first started having seizures, I was having uh, multiple seizures. I wasn't having them every day, but when I did, they were really bad.
They were bad.
I have grand mal seizures, so like every muscle in your body tightens up. And those bad ones could take me out of commission for, where I couldn't leave the couch for, 4 days, just because I was so sore from, twitching and, falling on things. I've broken, all kinds of things, falling and,
Wow.
having seizures and whatnot. I've hurt a lot of my body during some of those early seizures until it got under control.
So how did that lead to how that lead to real estate?
But yeah, so I kind of had to take a step back from working a traditional job because every time you have a seizure or change medications, you have to go 6 months without driving.
Yep.
So I was sitting there thinking, like, I can't get to work, on a regular basis to, keep doing management and things like that. So, what can I do, where I can do a lot of it from home, remotely. And I've always liked sales and I've always been really good at it. And so real estate, came to mind. I was like, I can do a lot of research for my clients, from home in front of my computer. And then if I happen to not be able to drive at that time, I might be able to find friends or family or something to take me to house showings and, presentations and things like that. So it kind of just came from my love of sales and, being around people. And I've just went with it from there.
Yeah, that's that's really awesome to hear because you were presented with options, and you're presented with the option to either move forward successfully. And a lot of people would look at other options like, this is too hard. I don't know what to do. It's like, throw your hands up because it's like my life has been so impacted in a way that I didn't foresee. How do I move forward? And what does that even look like? But you looked at it and said, you know what? This is what I want to do. So I have to kind of cater what I choose to do to make room for the things that I now have to deal with. And that's a really interesting take to do because it's more of a success journey. What made you, and this is more personal, but what made you say, you know what, in spite of this, I'm still going to move forward and I'm still going to be successful, even if I have to pivot?
For sure, my kids. And that's another thing, stress might have had something to do with, my onset of epilepsy. I was right after that and kind of before it. I was dealing with a separation and eventual kind of ugly divorce with my ex-wife. And then after divorce, it's really hard for males to get a fair deal in the courts, especially here in Ohio, Greene County, Ohio. They don't make it easy for fathers. So I knew I was going to be losing time with them. I remember before I moved out of my old house with my ex-wife, I remember the last time that I took my son, to his bus stop. My oldest son was in school, and I remember crying like a baby, like, because I knew that could possibly be the last time that I get to walk him to his bus. Because you never know what the outcomes of things. And I've gotten some pretty raw deals from the courts since then. But now I actually have custody of all three of my boys, and that's why
Wow.
they're hearing these things.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you have custody now, and you are about to be 4 years free of your seizures. We got a new diet. We're all up into the health and fitness and enthusiastic about that. Let's talk about real estate, though.
All right.
Okay, so clearly I've seen some of the reviews on your website, and they're really great. People enjoy interacting with you and speaking with you now. I can see why. In the market today, it seems that now this is our putting our real estate head on now. Now I'm going to be getting a free consultation. In the market today, it seems like a lot of people are looking for a lot of different things. They don't know whether to rent, whether to buy. What do you do for a person if they're looking for a new place?
Well, there's kind of a system. You got to find out what their must-haves are, and then some things that they'd really like to have, but could live without. You've got to be able to kind of convince them to widen their search a little bit more, because there's actually more realtors right now than there are houses on the market. So
Okay.
the thinner, more specific parameters that clients that are looking for a home set, the less likelihood it's going to come up. And then if it does, there's going to be a lot of offers, because it's probably the same thing that a lot of other people are looking for as well in a market where there's no inventory.
Got you. What would you say is the number one thing that people often overlook when they're looking for a new place? What is something you're just like, I deal with this all the time and they really need to do this?
I would say they need to interview more than one realtor.
Oh, why?
Well, a lot of people just see that, or everybody knows a realtor, especially here in Yellow Springs. There's a few of them that have been around for a long time, so people just naturally gravitate like, oh, they've been around forever. Let's go with them. But they might not be the right fit for you, personality wise or whatnot. And a younger or not so much younger, but a newer person to the industry that has 3 kids to feed, that isn't at their level yet, could bring a lot more to the table and be hungrier and ready to really go to work. So I would say do your research and not just rely on, well, they've sold a lot of houses, so I'm going to go with them.
Sure. Yeah, because that's kind of brand recognition, right? It's like, I recognize this brand, or I recognize this name, or I recognize this reputation, so I'm going to go with them. And that may not be the experience. That just might be, it could be the marketing. It could be a lot of different things. But yeah, how has what you've gone through in the past shaped how you move forward now? With all of the health challenges that you've gone through, you went through some court situations, you've gotten custody, now you're in real estate, which you're doing well in. How has that shaped how you look to the future?
Well, now I'm able to concentrate on real estate a little bit more than when I started. When I started, and I was going through all the issues with divorce and custody and everything, my first, and well, it still is, but my first priority for sure then was spending as much time with my kids as I could. So I wasn't putting as much effort into real estate. I was a realtor, but my sphere of influence and whatnot was bringing me most of my business. But I didn't know, even when I had temporary custody of the kids or whatnot, I didn't know what the next court hearing was going to bring me. So when I had my kids, my number one mission wasn't to be out there selling houses and marketing myself. It was to spend every moment that I could with my children. And now I still want to spend as much time with them and take them, around the world and whatnot. But I'm able to concentrate knowing that I do have custody of them now, and I can move forward with making myself more successful.
Yeah, it reminds me of what I opened the show with, talking about seasons, and what you said just then sounded like your seasons of priorities, right? You were
Mhm.
in a season, and it called for you to focus on different things, and your priority was really family, and it was good that you did because you had to do that foundation and get that together. And it's like, now that I have that, I can move on to other priorities, and I have more time and I have more capacity to say, okay, now I can concentrate on this. That's really a great lesson in priority measurement. Yeah. Okay. So, what do you do for fun? What's going on in the world of fun for David?
Um, for fun, I like to fish a lot, golf. Um, I take the kids bowling and swimming and around the planet. I
Around the
just got
planet.
them their passports, so we
Oh
haven't been
wow.
on any international travel yet. But I'm planning on taking them to Belize next year. Um, but for the last 3 years, like the week before school starts, I've taken them to Disney World. So they have kind of like a, fun, just got off of something fun right before they, go back to school. I bring them back a couple of days before school so they can kind of wind down and, and then hopefully have those good feelings going into school.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, last year we went. I took them on 2 vacations last year. Last year we did the Grand Canyon, and then we did Moab, Utah, and then we went to Vegas and did Cirque du Soleil as well. So we did a Western trip last year, and then we did uh, Disney World as well. So I'm
Wow.
trying to give them as many experiences as I can, and uh, I'm ready to start taking them abroad now and really showing them, some of the cool places in the planet that I've been. I've already been to Belize, and then I can't wait to experience some new things together as well.
That's awesome. So you're a single father of three. You
Mhm.
have a great real estate business, and you're taking clients right now, right?
Oh, absolutely. For people that are looking for homes as well as those that are looking to sell theirs. So I do work with buyers and sellers.
Okay. So for the buyers and sellers, awesome. You can contact him. I want you to, if you can, you have such an inspiring story. And somebody may not be on the same track as you, but I think people can relate to the challenges of having to figure out what to do next and putting priorities into place and deciding which step to take. For somebody who is listening and that resonates with them and they're at the crossroads of making a decision, from your success perspective, what encouragement can you give somebody who is just on the brink of like, I don't know what to do?
Um, well, it goes back to kind of that. old saying that if you are doing something that you love, then it's not really work. I've known that I've loved being in front of people selling things. I enjoy that challenge. And I want to be that person that, you come in front of me looking for something. I enjoy that challenge of, saying, they're not going to leave without this thing that they want,
Yeah.
because, I'm going to, give them the presentation that they're looking for. So I'd say you have to kind of look within yourself and say, what do I really want to do? What do I love to do, and how can I make a career out of it? And that will bring, hopefully, forth some opportunities that maybe they weren't thinking about, or just give them a better perspective on, how to move forward towards, do.
I love that. Know what you want to do. Decide. David, thank you so much for being here. Can you
Absolutely.
hear me?
It's a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah. I'm so excited that I don't need to buy any houses, but I'm glad that I know that you're out there rocking and rolling, because I know a lot of people that do. So, and thank you for being transparent with your story. That's incredible, and congratulations on your health journey. That's wonderful.
And thank you. Thank you very much. And people just have to remember that those interest rates that were here during COVID,
Oh,
they're not coming back. We missed that boat.
uh-oh.
If we
See,
get
now
down to
here
2 and
come the
3%,
these are the nuggets here. Right. So okay, so wait, hold on. Before we go, that's really good. So what are some tips? You said interest rates are not the same, right?
and they will never get that low again in our lifetime unless we're in a situation that we don't want to be in,
Right.
like
So
COVID and
what does
whatnot.
that mean? What does that mean for the market?
Well, people have that, 2.5%, 3.5% interest rate that was just a couple of years ago in their head that, maybe if I wait, we'll get back to that point. We're not getting back to that point.
Okay.
Unless another disaster happens. And we're at about 7% on interest rates right now. And historically, that's actually not too bad.
Okay.
But that's for buyers. That's what I would suggest. But the big thing about people selling their houses is a lot of people aren't wanting to sell right now because they're like, where am I going to go afterwards? I have a house that's paid off, or I have and there's in all of the Dayton MLS right now, there's probably about 1,100 single family homes.
Wow.
And that's in an area that goes, almost to London, Ohio, like the east side of Springfield, down to almost Austin Landing, over to pretty much Richmond to the border, and all the way up to like the, Troy area. So in that entire space, 1,100 homes. When I bought my home in 09, there was probably 12 or 13,000 houses on the market. So we're looking at, 10% of the houses that there were, 14, 15 years ago. And the other thing that, you kind of want to get out there as a realtor is referrals is a really big part of our business. And
Okay.
like, my uncle lived in North Carolina, and my mom said that he was about to sell his house to one of these, billboard places. We buy your house for cash or whatnot. And I had to call him like, no, 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 do not do that. Like, I'm a realtor now. And he ended up getting about $100,000 more on his home than they were offering from the billboard place. And one of the good things about it is we get 25% of the commission of whoever we refer them to. So my uncle is genius smart, and sometimes people that are that intelligent, or any of us, can be very particular about things. So what I had to do in that situation and do in other situations like it is I actually call and interview top agents from that area, and then really try and match up personalities and make sure that it's going to work. But I've been pretty successful at that. All the people that I have referred to, the sellers have been happy with who I've chosen, and it's hard to keep your circle and whatnot informed that you don't just work in Yellow Springs or in Greene County or Ohio. My oldest sister actually sold her home, which is a very nice home, which I would have loved to have been part of that sale, in Cleveland. She had no idea that I could have helped her there, or she helped me. I could have made it easier for her, whatnot. I can help friends and family and clients all over the country. And actually, the company that I'm with right now, Coldwell Banker, is actually an international company as well. So I can even, there's several countries that we work with, and I can even help with relocation, military people, or just friends and family that are going to cross the pond or whatnot.
So it sounds like you're a really great resource to call, to reach out to, and if you can't do whatever it is, then you help to figure out how to get it done. Yeah,
that's the beauty of working with a large company like Coldwell. I have a fantastic network of people that have been in the business for a long time, and real estate is like the biggest individual team sport. Because you're all playing against each other. You all want each listing, but at the same time, we all work for Coldwell. We're all trying to get better at this. So even though we are competing against each other, we're also helping one another. And I've gotten plenty of help from others that don't work for my firm, Charlotte McQueen here in town, and Allison Moody, and there's some really good mentors and people that are totally willing to help, that may or may not work in the same firm as you. So that's one of the things that I really like about it is, yes, I will go out and find that answer for you, and I have plenty of people to ask if I don't know it myself. And I'm not afraid to say I'm a very transparent person, that I don't have that answer, but I'm going to go get it for you, and I'll be right back to you as soon as I get that answer. So
I love that. Because a lot of times people just have questions, and it's so nice to know that there's somewhere they can go. Like, hey, I just need some help. And you can be the one-stop shop, or we'll just find answers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. David, thank you so much. So great talking to you.
Yeah, it's always good to see you and talk to you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll probably be reaching out to get some more tips from the real estate industry, because it seems like it's becoming a huge thing.
Yeah, send them my way, and I'll take good care of them.
Absolutely. So that's David Scott II, davidscottlistings.com. Make sure you reach out to him for any of your questions, for any of your concerns, for any of your needs, no matter where it is. You heard that it's global, so it doesn't really matter. Whatever your questions are for real estate, a great person to know and person to connect with. In addition, take some inspiration from David's story. Wow, what a journey. through health scares, through some marital issues, through the courts, and all of these things, coming down to the point where you put things into perspective, you make your priorities what they need to be for that season, and then you make a plan to move forward. Sometimes you have to pivot, and sometimes that pivot really helps to transform the lives of others, like David is doing right now in real estate. So davidscottlistings.com, make sure you check him out. And as usual, go to phillipawork.com for more information. And remember that you are the best you in the world. And I'll see you next time here on The Phillip Show.
Don't